Good morning, esteemed guests, youth leaders, partners, and friends. My name is Elizabeth Simon, and I'm a World Bank Group youth delegate from Namibia. It is with great excitement and honor that I welcome you all to the Women-Led AI Sustainability Youth Summit 2024 for those that are here physically and those that are also attending virtually. This event brings together diverse minds from Namibia and beyond, united by our shared commitment to leverage artificial intelligence and sustainability to shape a better future. Today marks not only the beginning of a transformative two-day summit, but also the continuation of a movement, one where women and youth lead the way in defining the role of technology in solving our world's most pressing challenges, from climate change to digital equity. As we gather here in the heart of Windhoek, I want to thank each one of you for your dedication to the cause. Your participation reflects the urgency with which we must act and innovate to build sustainable solutions, empowering communities and future generations. I also extend a warm welcome to our esteemed partners and sponsors whose support has made this event possible. Your belief in the potential of women and youth to drive change is a testament to the impact we can make together. Over the next 2 days, I encourage you to engage fully, exchange ideas, share insights, and collaborate on new initiatives. We are here not just to talk about sustainability and AI, but to craft actionable solutions that will move Namibia and the world forward. Let this summit be a spark for inspiration, learning, and connection as we shape a future where AI meets environmental sustainability in meaningful ways, with women leading the charge. Thank you, and once again, welcome. So now I will welcome Mr. Matthias Kaholonge, the Deputy Executive Director from the VP Office, to give the keynote speech on behalf of our Honorable Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, the Vice President of Namibia. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Matheus Kaholongo. I work as a Deputy Executive Director in the Office of the Vice President. At this juncture, I would like to convey the apologies of the Vice President, who could not be here due to other pressing national assignments. So she has delegated me to come and deliver the statement on her behalf. And I will do it as follows. Director of Ceremonies, distinguished invited guests, esteemed speakers and panelists, both in attendance and those attending virtually, distinguished youth leaders, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to be with you this morning at the Women-Led AI Sustainability Youth Summit 2024, an event that marks a pivotal moment in the journey towards a more sustainable, equitable, and technologically driven future. We are gathered here in Namibia, a land of rich cultural heritage and natural beauty, to foster discussions, inspire action, and create opportunities for our young leaders to harness the power of artificial intelligence in addressing the pressing development challenges of our time. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the organizers, partners, and especially the youth who are participating with their vision, energy, and determination. Today, we are not just talking about sustainability and AI, we are leading the way in creating a future where women are at the forefront in enhancing information technology to foster innovation, problem solving, and leadership. Ladies and gentlemen, as we stand on the brink of the fourth industrial revolution, we are witnessing the transformative potential of AI in nearly every sector of society. AI has indeed transformed the manner in which we go about our daily lives and conduct business. AI is more than just a tool for efficiency. It is an engine for solving some of the world's greatest challenges, from climate change to food security, from water management to renewable energy. AI holds the key to creating systems that are both intelligent and sustainable. However, the full potential of AI can only be realized if we include diverse voices in its design and application, particularly the voices of women. Today, as we focus on AI's role in sustainability, I want to emphasize the importance of ensuring that women are not just beneficiaries of technological advancements, but active creators and leaders in this space. Namibia is deeply committed to building an inclusive AI ecosystem where young women can thrive, innovate, and shape the solutions that will carry us into a more sustainable future. Historically, women have been underrepresented in the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, STEM fields, and AI is no exception. But we are here to change that narrative. I am proud to say that Namibia, in collaboration with its global partners, is taking bold steps to empower young women with the skills, knowledge, and opportunities they need to excel in AI and sustainability. Programs that promote STEM education for girls, leadership training for women in technology, and investments in women-led startups are critical to leveling the playing field. The Women-led AI Sustainability Summit is not just a gathering of brilliant minds, but a platform to break barriers, to inspire and to mentor the next generation of female leaders who will drive sustainable AI solutions across Africa and beyond. Director of Ceremonies, our youth are our greatest asset. The energy, creativity, and the resilience that you bring to the table are exactly what we need to build a sustainable future. Your voices, your ideas, and your willingness to take risks are what will shape the policies, innovations, and solutions of tomorrow. AI is not a future technology, it is a present reality. And the youth, particularly young women, must be at the forefront of its application for sustainability. We need your curiosity to ask new questions, your determination to push boundaries, and your innovation to build systems that work for the planet and all its people. As much as we need global collaboration, we also need local solutions. Namibia, with its unique landscapes, biodiversity, and cultures, must find sustainable solutions that speak to our realities. This summit is a call to action for everyone present to think not only about global impact, but about the specific needs of our communities, our ecosystems, and our people. power to change the world rests in your hands. Each of you here today has the potential to be a game changer in the fields of AI and sustainability. Whether you are a developer, a researcher, an entrepreneur, or a policymaker, you have a role to play in shaping a world that is more just, more sustainable, and more inclusive. Let us leave this summit with a renewed sense of purpose and possibility. Let us work together to ensure that women are leading in AI, that sustainability is at the heart of technological advancement, and that the youth of Namibia and the world are driving the innovations that will secure a brighter, greener future for all. I thank you.
An amazing speech indeed. Can we please give another round of applause again, please? Thank you. Well, that was very well said by Master Marcus. We are the game changers, so each and every one of us have the ability to make the change. We need to be very resilient in what we are doing. We need to keep pushing. So I just want to get straight to the program. If we can have the first round of the panel for the first theme that we'll be having for the Women-Led AI Sustainability Youth Summit. Let me welcome you all on stage. And also I'll be the master of ceremony for today. So thank you very much. If you're here, please, can you come forward to the stage, the panel that has to present on the first theme. Okay, so the first theme is on promoting the integration of AI in sustainable practices and digital transformation. And we'll have Mr. Marco and Dr. Jane on stage. Thank you. Good morning. Good morning, Mirko. Good morning, Dr. Jane. Welcome on this panel, and welcome to the Women-Led AI Sustainability Youth Summit.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Okay, so we're going to delve in the promoting the integration of AI in sustainable practices and digital transformation. As we know, this is the new age that we are actually facing in terms of digital transformation. So I would like to ask you, how can AI be leveraged to enhance agricultural sustainability and food security in Namibia, focusing on the role of AI in improving crop yields, optimizing resource usage, and ensuring food security?
So there are actually quite a couple of ways that AI can be integrated into these types of systems. For one, AI can actually analyze the crops and the soil. So AI can give statistics on this information and can then relay information to farmers on what is better to do on these crops to help them grow and so on. One of them could be AI could analyze the soil, right, and scan for pesticides. So farmers can see how much pesticides should be given to crops to ensure that the crops are healthy and to not waste any kind of extra money on crops if you don't know how badly the crops have been damaged from pesticides. But regarding the soil and fertilization, AI can be used in this type of field. So AI can analyze the soil's acidity, and it can then measure, or let farmers know how much fertilizer this soil needs to help it grow and so on.
That's quite very interesting indeed. And what are your views on that, Dr. Jane?
Thank you. Well, I would like to say that AI plays a significant role in addressing those challenges specifically which we are facing in agriculture and specifically on the climatic conditions. So if you think about, like, first thing is which we need to monitor and analyze what exactly the climatic conditions are there and how climate can support us to look forward in terms of more productions. Okay. Secondly, I hope you have heard about smart irrigation systems. These days farmers are not like that, that they have to go to the field and spend whole day or do a lot of hard work. These days AI brought us a big change where you can sit in your office and monitor your crops. Okay, you can do smart irrigation in especially in terms of like how much water needs to be supplied, at what time needs to be supplied. Okay, so there are many aspects. If you see from the climate side, you need to monitor basics on the previous data. Okay, like if you compare last 5 years, you can still have a predictive analysis in terms of like what could be the climate now and how we can be ready to take this opportunity to grow more and support country. Secondly, as I mentioned about a smart irrigation system, okay, we definitely need to train our youth as well as farmers, those who are practicing this agriculture thing. They need to understand that how the technology can be utilized, okay, to do more efficient work, right? Like, I hope you have heard about IoT and sensors, right? So these days IoT devices, I would say Internet of Things, right? Might be you have heard about those Siri, Alexa, and you can speak that, okay, play this song for me, do this for me. Same this way these days, these type of IoT devices are coming in the agriculture sector, where you can command to those devices that, okay, at morning 8, at 10, and after every 2 hours you have to give the water. Okay, and what is the level of the water, everything you can set, and based on those commands again you can collect the data, how the things are going, how the crops are growing. All these aspects can be monitored on the dashboard, as well as data analysis can be done. So these days I would say IoT and sensors plays very important role to smart agriculture environment. So that is just a kind of highlight on this, that AI plays very significant role in agriculture sustainability. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. That was quite very insightful indeed. Yes, having to improving on crop yields, definitely you did highlight on the precision agriculture, the pest and disease management, which was also highlighted by Mr. Marco, and then optimizing of resource usage in terms of efficient water use. How can AI system monitor the soil moisture levels? What type of tools could any of you think of that one can use? Because you did mention that there are IoTs that now are in place that you can give a command to, and then they can just read the type of information that you would like for them to respond in that regard. So when it comes to that, what are your views on that?
All right. You see, as I mentioned about IoT devices, there are various sensors which can work on different aspects, on different parameters to collect, like temperature, humidity, soil quality, all those aspects, how you can collect the data. And based on that collection of data, based on those parameters, a farmer or those who are managing these crops and all, they can take decisions. Okay, that is one aspect. But these days you have heard about machine learning, right? You are making your machines to learn from that data, that see if these parameters gives you this data, based on those data you must take these decisions. And that's how it comes, machine learning for decision making. So I would say that not only IoT devices, there are so many aspects which plays a role behind it, like especially data what you collect. Okay, then after that, how you train your models to make decisions, and based on those decisions, definitely more efficient farming can be done. That is there.
No, thank you very much, Dr. Jane. That was quite very insightful indeed. I just had a question on ensuring food security, because we know we're facing serious problems when it comes to food security in Africa, and that doesn't examine Namibia, especially with the water shortage supply that we are also facing at this point. So what type of AI model can we use in order to ensure food security? Do we have any intake on that? Have you probably come up with any suggestions or any thoughts in that regards?
To be honest, that is actually a quite good question, and I don't know if I can answer that one. So I'll give it back to the panelist next to me.
All right, thank you, Marco. I think specifically when you talk about water, okay, I was just dealing with recently in last week with one of the geo specialists who basically look into where the water banks are there and how depth the water is there, and definitely they used to model, okay, based on the data how they collected. Again, it plays very important role about the soil, about the type of land, and all those factors. So a lot of data we collect, and based on that, the models are prepared to understand that this water can be helpful in farming or not, or how much it can sustain our crops and all. So definitely there are a lot of artificial intelligence techniques through which you can look into it, specifically in designing your decisions and segregating that, okay, this data gives this type of insight, that data gives that type of insight, and based on those correlations between data, you prepare the model to outperform or improve your process. So that is how basically model works.
No, thank you very much. I think I can give it now down to the audience. If there are any questions from the audience, please feel welcome to ask on this theme called Promotion the Integration of AI in Sustainable Practices and Digital Transformation. and we focused on how AI can improve on crop yields, optimizing resource usage, and ensuring food security. Are there any questions? No. Okay. We do have a hand up.
Good morning. Thank you for the wonderful discussion. I think it gave a lot of insight into how we could improve food security in the country using AI and IoT. However, the main providers of our food sources are farmers, right? And they often live in rural areas. The farms are located outside of towns. So how can IoT benefit the farmer that is isolated from the town and those things? Because they also contribute to the food in the country. And also on the note of that, those farmers don't really have the resources to learn about IoT, to learn about AI and how they can integrate it. How can the government create programs to involve these farmers into these things to improve the overall efficiency of the food production in Namibia? Thank you.
Well, let me take this one. I think a very good question. And as we have the disparities between, urban and rural areas, specifically when we talk about the internet connections. So the first one is how basically, this IoT devices, can benefit in terms of, farming and all, how they can be understanding to utilize more, because definitely. So there are alternative ways to work with the IoT devices, but I would take it in that way, starting from very basic roots. Like, first of all, education is needed. Okay, you need to train our people. We need to train how you can efficient, or you can make better farming in terms of quality, in terms of time efficiency. There are many factors, because maybe people are struggling a lot. Might be they are putting up a lot of efforts to do the farming, and still they can't get that much of production what is expected. So we need to train them. We need to educate them that, see, these are the ways through which you can, do better farming. Secondly, they also need to train and educate it in terms of what are the technologies coming in the market. Like, what is IoT devices? Might be, you rightly mentioned that many of the farmers might not aware about IoT devices, or might not aware about technologies. So country needs a specific, or I would say institutions, or through these training authorities, like, the vocational trainings or so. Country needs here some centers where we can train farmers. We can even motivate our young and youths to basically come and do internship, how to do farming. What are the technologies coming? Let them train about it. Why these technologies are important in your agriculture sector, and what other countries are doing. Look at that. Why we can't do it? Definitely other countries are doing those technological solutions. So the first and the basic solution for this is education, making them aware about the technologies, and the what you can say, IoT devices, or whatever smart devices are coming. Secondly, we need to work on ICT infrastructure, because suppose we got the knowledge, okay, we have trained our students, or our youth and the farmers, that, see, this is how you can do smart farming. This is you can do with a better efficiency in terms of using technology. But if you don't have infrastructure, if you don't have internet, then there is a challenge. So we need to improve ICT infrastructure. Okay, So definitely institutions plays very important role in terms of education. Government plays very important role in terms of improving ICT infrastructure, more internet connectivity, so that those rural areas, which basically I would say they are be not connected, they can be connected, they can learn, and they can apply these technological solution in their agriculture, in the farming. I hope I answered you. Okay, but I would like to give a floor to Marco also to just put on any comments on it, please.
Yeah. Okay, so there isn't really much that I can say about this, since you already mentioned all of my points. So, no, but it was a good explanation that he gave. One thing that I could say is that yes, education is essential for this. If the young people aren't educated on this, then there's actually no way forward. Elderly people, or the seniors, they don't necessarily, or they can't necessarily get educated on this, and if, then it's going to take a long while. So it's the youth that needs to be educated on these things, so that the youth can drive the empowerment of the future that we have. And especially in the rural areas where they are disconnected from the entire world, it is challenging to actually give them or help them give the technology that they need to actually improve on the situation that we have. But yeah, there's not really anything or much that I can really add on to this. So, thank you.
Wow, insightful indeed. If I can just add on top of what Dr. Jane and Mr. Marco have said, they have really said it all. On top of that, it is really very important that we do get the education. Moreover, when it comes to the challenges of the rural areas, right, how do we get to them? Through workshops, so more often we expect so much from the government, but the government is the youth, if I have to really be honest, because we are the change makers. We are the ones that are updated with the latest digital transformation. We are the ones that are being updated on all these changes that are happening in terms of climate change, awareness, the importance of AI in sustainability. So I would urge, like, as you can see today, majority are actually attending virtually and not here physically. And that's a very good thing, actually, because we are also saving up on costs when it comes to meeting the government halfway, Instead of having everybody come here, having to take transportation costs and everything. That's because of digital transformation. It made it possible for us to be able to participate anywhere, and we are able to do multiple of tasks, because one person is able as well to, for example, be in an office where they can watch over at the summit and then at the same time be productive. It's the same scenario we can also tend to farmers. So if we look at the farmers, right, as Marco has indicated, we need to educate the youth that stays with the farmers, because obviously we're facing, like, overall in the world, billions of people that don't have access to internet or don't even know that internet does exist. So it is our obligation at least to reach out to them. And I'm actually very happy to say that this won't be the only summit that will be taking place, but obviously we are also targeting the northern part, main specifically in Ondangwa, first week of December, and then second week of December in the coast, just to make sure that we highlight most of those areas, because everything most of the times also just happens in the center, like in the city. And then what contributes to the economy as well, it is in from the northern parts and the coastal parts as well. So in order for us to make sure that we are on the same page regarding the digital transformation form that we are facing, and just educating more people, taking up on challenges, small challenges, it is going out to the people as well as the youth. It starts with us. Have a conversation on AI when talking with a friend over the phone. So just that in short, I hope I answered your question as well.
Yeah, no, thanks. It was very insightful. Just one last one from me. You mentioned something about the IT infrastructure. It's a fundamental aspect of a well-performing artificial intelligence model or any other IT tool that we use. Now, if we take any farmer who has been farming for the last 20 years, and we ask him, how could you improve your farming? They wouldn't mention anything close to technology. They would just say, we need more, we need rain. You know, they rely on the old school way of farming. So the educational part, it might be a challenge because they are very reluctant to adopt new technologies, especially if the technologies are expensive. IoT is relatively not so expensive. The main expensive part of IoT would be to build a system and to integrate it into their daily life. So would there be a opportunity for the youth to implement these things as side projects, or as to reach out to commercial farmers or to local farmers to implement these solutions for them? Or should we just rely on education and hope that they implement it themselves?
All right, thank you for your question. I understand, and you rightly said it's not easy to definitely pitch in, education and training, specifically those who are working since so long, and it's not easy to change their, way of working and so. But there are so many opportunities where you don't need to train them. Definitely training and education is for youth, those who are now stepping into agriculture or interested into agriculture. So training and education for youth. But those who are doing since last 20 years or they are old, what we can do is, in my opinion, I think that definitely they need to look into collaborations. What other farmers are doing, or what new farmers are coming and what they are doing. Like if I can give you an example, one of my very close friend, basically, he's doing that kind of farming, right? Okay, he definitely has a different and unique aspects of doing farming. So people can learn from each other. Okay, what type of farming you are doing, that is fine. Okay, but what others are doing, definitely you can learn from them. So I would say more collaborations, more exchange of ideas, thoughts, how people are doing in more efficient way. I think that can give more, insights and learning that, okay, this is the traditional way of farming which I am following, but see the other farmer, they are doing something different. I can adopt that particular, way of working, which might can save my time, my resources. So for those people specifically, as you mentioned, those are very reluctant or not easy to change in terms of adapting the technology. Definitely they can work in terms of collaboration or exchange of ideas. And I would also suggest, like as Ms. Elizabeth mentioned about that, they will be doing more summits specifically on AI sustainability in northern areas and all. I would like to propose that we should have a specific summit on agriculture, so that we can promote and motivate and encourage our youth that, see, there is a different angle of doing agriculture. We are talking definitely about artificial intelligence, latest technology, but again, we should think that how we can set our ground, how we can work on our basics, so that the foundation can be strong in terms of maybe technology, maybe training, maybe learning, okay, and then it comes to a specific area, let's say agriculture, okay. So yeah, in that case, we could have more collaborations, like we can have learn from other countries as well, what they are doing. Maybe climatic conditions are different, I completely understand, but still, process methodologies can be learned from each other, right? And I would also recommend that we should think on produce our own. So that's why more insights, more this type of summits, more engagements, as well as collaboration between different countries and us here, so that we can learn and exchange our ideas. so that we should not depend on the other countries. So we should promote from this platform also, and our ongoing discussion, that produce own, so that we can, grow our economy. We should not depend on the, other countries. And that is how we can learn. We can learn from each other and what other farmers are doing. So we need to encourage our youth. We need to encourage the best possible way, that how you can learn from others in terms of, providing efficient farming and efficient agriculture aspects. Thank you.
Okay, that was a handful one. Yes, no, indeed, that's a very good question. Hey, and your points are very amazing as well. But if I have to get back to what you also said, you have mentioned as, should the youth just sit back and just wait for the government, or can you just rephrase that?
No, I was asking, should the youth invade the farms and go implement technology, essentially, or should we wait for the education to take over so that people can slowly integrate into the technology space, into agriculture sector?
Oh, okay. Okay. I see Dr. Jane has answered that part where he emphasizes more on summits and so forth. So I'm sure your question was answered, right? Okay.
I would like to mention one more point here. Like institutions these days, universities, specifically if you see some of the national university here in Namibia, they are offering programs on agriculture. Okay. And I would like to mention about one of the center which we basically used to run at NUST, that is Center of Excellence in ICT, specifically in information technology. So I would like to propose, why can't we have a Center of Excellence in agriculture? Do you agree with me? Right? If we have a Center of Excellence in agriculture, where you can get all the learning aspects, short programs, those who are youth, those who are would like to work in agriculture, or those who are interested, definitely they can go and learn. Okay, short programs. Definitely you need not to be engage yourself very long, but at least, like, if you are coming from a different field and you wanted to switch into agriculture, because I see Namibia has a vast land, escape specifically, and you can utilize better. So if this type of centers, okay, can be established, okay, for capacity building, for research, because these days I see and also supervise basically master's students and basically PhD students, those who are researching specifically on climatic condition, specifically on the let's say health sector. So we can also motivate and encourage through this Center of Excellences and the capacity building units, where we can promote that they must learn about how to do research on these aspects. So ultimately, more engagements, more capacity building will definitely help youth. But those who are slightly more experienced, definitely it's not easy to change, and for them we can bring like a kind of exchange. We could have a kind of exchange workshops, like people from here to go to other countries on educational visit, where they can see the farming, how they are doing, how the things are working, and then they can come back and implement in our country. So that is called knowledge sharing or knowledge transfer kind of thing. Okay, so there are ways through which we can definitely work around this. Thank you.
Yeah, no, that was quite very insightful. I just want to add on what Dr. Jane said. Another suggestion that I could also give is, since all our farmers, right, they do get registered with BIPA, Business Intellectual Properties of Authority, right? BIPA, okay. So what I can suggest is that guys that are in that field of IoT, right, they can obviously come up with projects. And then, as Dr. Jane has mentioned previously, you come up with your project and then you collaborate with the stakeholders. That's the government meeting you also halfway. They can give you probably like a list of all these farmers that are outdated on technology. And then a few of yourselves, you go down to them, obviously with the help of the funds coming from the government. And then, you know, you go out there and you make sure that whatever you have formulated, you implement and you execute. But also, it also requires a lot of discipline, because we know what our youth does with projects. They're very good at buying vehicles. They're not disciplined. And then when things don't really go right, and then we again blame the government. So it really does come a lot with a lot of commitment and discipline to execute certain ideas. So if you have an idea, this is the time to be very resilient and really go after what you believe in, especially if you really care about those in the rural areas, because those are the ones that are always mostly affected when it comes to food security and so forth. So yes, I hope I made sense on top of what Dr. Jane just mentioned. I don't know if Mr. Marco have any points on that as well, or any views. Okay. Is there still any other questions? You can keep them rolling.
No questions on me, thanks.
Okay. Now then, that will be the end of the first session or theme. And then we'll have the second theme as well. Session, I don't know if from the panel you would like to join on this theme, or if you are comfortable still staying, or if you want to excuse yourself from the next question. So the next question is, what are the potential economic benefits and challenges of integrating AI into Namibia's energy sector, particularly renewable energy sources? So the keynote on this, we are trying to explore on how AI can optimize energy production and distribution and the economic impact of transitioning to sustainable energy resources. So what I mean is, we have mentioned more of the IoT, right? So we are emphasizing more on renewable energy integrations, predictable maintenance, cutting costs, because nowadays we can use AI-driven predictive maintenance that can monitor the health of energy infrastructure, such as solar panels, and wind turbines, predicting failures before they occur, instead of having a maintenance guy that you have still to pay a lot of costs. And then it's a test and what do you call it? It's a test, it's an error. Is it a test and error? Yeah, test and error, whereby they come back again after a few weeks, and then you have to pay again, whereby AI can give you accurate information on that. And then we also talk about the smart grid management in terms of AI, how it can enhance the efficiency of smart grids by balancing supply and demand in real time. It can also predict energy consumption patterns and adjust the distributions according, ensuring stability and reducing energy losses. So when we are looking at all this, what is the economic impact of transitioning to sustainable energy in terms of also job creating, cost savings, investment attraction, energy dependence, and environmental benefits? Do you have any view on that?
All right. While we're talking about renewable source of energies, and specifically there are many, but are you talking about the job opportunities, or yeah? See, every aspect of energy, because it's economy basically of the nation depends on that, and every country, every nation required to streamline their source of energy. Okay, Even if you see here in Namibia itself, we do have a lot of solar panels. We even use at our homes as well, and not only homes. If you see commercial units like Bank of Namibia, if you see, just to give an example, there are many. They are using solar power, right? That those panels. So solar as well as other aspects of like wind energy or maybe water energy, there are so many aspects from where you are receiving, and these days we are talking about green hydrogen. I hope you have heard that term, right? Various opportunities, specifically for youth. If you select a field, let's say I wanted to work in this area, let's say specifically in energy, lot of opportunities. Now what type of opportunities and what role you can play, that is also an important aspect to just highlight. Number one, you can analyze the demand of the nation and how you can fulfill. We should definitely look into that, we as a nation not to depend on other countries for the energy, because I see, in my opinion also, Namibia is quite resourceful in terms of minerals as well as even the natural sunlights and all. So how we can utilize that better and how that can be beneficial in terms of job opportunities. There are a lot in case like if you are dealing with the data aspect, okay, about geographical data where we can generate energy, or how much amount of energy needs to be generated. Lot of analysis required, and based on that, you can start implementing it. So as a data analyst, you will definitely play a very important role in terms of energy sector, although data analysts can play role everywhere in every sector, but as you specifically asked about energy sector, apart from it, you can have a predictive analysis, right? Like last 5 years, what is the consumption of energy, because population also increase day by day, right? And demand, it's a game of demand and supply, right? If the population is increasing day by day, definitely you need to look after to provide the supply of energy. Okay, so both, I would even suggest that government should play in, and I'm sure they are playing a role, a crucial role in terms of public private partnerships, where you can invite people to work closely with the government to do the big projects, because energy projects are not small, they are large scale projects. Okay, so definitely when we talk about these aspects in terms of job opportunities, if you are doing a very large scale projects, job opportunities are many. Not only on the technological side, definitely there are other, like as an expert, okay, as an engineer specifically, like if you're talking about solar panels, if you talk about windmills and all, who can repair it, who can make them smoothly work. Okay, and then byproduct is definitely the data through which you can play around to deal with it. So lot of opportunities are there. Definitely youth needs to come up to look into it, how you can contribute in terms of improving the existing infrastructure, or promoting a new aspects in the country. Thank you.
Very well said. Indeed. Are there any questions from the from the audience? Okay.
Yes, thanks for the insight. The topic of solar, it's it's kind of a sensitive subject. Most people know it as a renewable energy source, and it is. However, the one component of it that is not very sustainable is the batteries. So solar panels take energy from the sun, convert it into energy, and then an inverter takes it and produces energy. However, oftentimes we have solar batteries in our system. that stores the excess energy for later use. Now, the solar batteries, firstly, they are mined. They are made from rare earth metals, which is also another industry on its own. Then, the production of a solar battery. One can produce up to 200 kilos of CO2 emissions per kilowatt hour of storage. So if you have a 10 kilowatt hour storage, it's 2000 kilograms of CO2 emissions. Then there comes the aspect of disposing of these batteries. Since the batteries they don't last forever, at a certain time you have to replace them. How can some people just throw them in the trash or throw them? These things can also leak pollution into water sources and to unwanted areas. So for that, on that aspect, how sustainable is solar really?
All right. Thank you for this question. And you rightly said batteries plays very important role in terms of producing and distributing and holding the energy and all. Number one, I already mentioned about public-private partnership. Okay, that is one thing through which you can get uh, the industry who basically itself deal in batteries making. But you know what? As per my knowledge, might be you can correct me. Namibia is rich in minerals and the resources, and I would also say that lithium plays important role in batteries, right? Lithium batteries. I hope you have heard about it, right? So why can't we bring our own factories, industries here itself in a nation to build batteries instead of depending on the other countries to import, right? So that is one step which we can take. I can understand that if the batteries are not working, it can throw out or what. When you have your own unit in the country, you will also have your task force to work around in the production of batteries and another unit to repair those batteries or reutilize it, so that you can do not have a e-waste kind of thing, that type of thing. So ultimately it's a kind of initiative, because I see this solar panels and all what we are talking, definitely the backbone is the batteries, and for that we need to take this kind of initiative where we can have our own factories and own production of batteries through which we can sustain. So the sustainability will only come when you have your own initiatives, own production house, because sustainability basically does not work on dependencies on other countries. Think about, like, there was a time in COVID we had a lockdown, and there was a fear also in that if the lockdown happens between the borders of the countries, how we can get our a routine items, it might be creating a problem, right? Now here the question is sustainability. Think about, if recently I think I have heard in the news that Namibia has got oil, right? um, Specifically, and other countries are also trying to collaborate with the country. Definitely it's a good thing, but if we have our own resources, we can ensure sustainability. And if we don't have resources, we need to take initiatives to build those resources, so that the dependencies can be avoided and the sustainability can be ensured. Okay, it's specifically when I talk about the batteries, specifically in energy sector, it can be reutilized. You need to have a expertise on that. We need to build our own task force, okay, which can reutilize, which can avoid the waste of those things. So it's just a proper cycle basically. But yes, how we can, means the question comes back on that, how we can do this. Again, education, learning, exchange of knowledge. Go, means I would definitely would like to motivate youth, try to get more knowledge, okay, learn more, and if you get opportunities, because many countries providing fundings, scholarships to learn. Many of my students went to India for learning as well as doing masters or something specifically. Avail that opportunity and go and see. And not only talking about India, but any other countries, like many student goes to Germany, China, anywhere. If you get the opportunity, go and learn what they are doing. At least if you have a knowledge, you can come back to our country and prepare your own task force. You will be the leader to train multiple people. But most of the time it doesn't happen. Ideally, I would say, you know, if people go out, they go out. They're working outside only. But that's what I would like to encourage our youth, our youngsters basically. This nation requires you, right? So not to be very, you know, self-oriented. We should be selfless in terms of, you know, contributing towards nation. Go, learn, and come back to country and teach here, make your own task force so that we can look forward for the sustainability, okay, in every sector, not only in energy sector, in agriculture. Think about if you get an opportunity to go and learn how Germany is doing agriculture, how India is doing agriculture, okay, you can come back to the country and implement it, right? And once you set an example, definitely government will support you, right? People will look at you, the youngsters which are coming, that see this is how the new things go on. So sustainability definitely comes by the time, but yes, we need to ensure that how we can get the sustainability by this process which I just mentioned.
Very good.
Wow, that's quite very insightful. Is there still any other question? Okay.
Good morning. Yes, sorry that we're late. To continue on the question he asked, there was at the ICT summit, there was a professor, right? Professor Peters. One thing she said was AI was measured to a certain extent in power, right? Generating power, sustaining or maintaining these infrastructures to maintain this AI that we're all buzzing around, right? Now, as an educator, right, seeing that you teach students and they don't tend to come back, right, with this education, as Namibians, do you think, or as a country, right, do you think we have the infrastructure ready enough to further this AI talk? Because in my opinion, we're basically talking about icing while there's no cake yet, which is dangerous because we're jumping on a bandwagon we do not fully understand and can maintain. So what's your thought on that? How do you think that you should go about building this new Namibia of ours?
Wonderful question. Thank you so much for that. Really, you touched the realistic aspect. When we are talking about very higher things, are we really ready with that? I mean, you know, the base, you know. See, I can say we are trying to get it there, okay? I cannot say that we are completely ready, okay? But by these types of engagement, by these type of summits, at least what we can do, we can make awareness, because the first thing is awareness. Many of the people are not aware about what is AI, okay, or what you are talking about in ICT, because if somebody is coming from a different background, he don't even understand what is the importance of ICT in my field. Think about an agriculture person, a farmer. He doesn't know about ICT, okay? But with this type of engagement, at least, you know, awareness can be going out, and at least they can learn, oh, ICT can also be applied in agriculture, or ICT can be applied in this sector or that sector. So awareness is there, okay? Awareness, and I see, as per my experience in Namibia, I'm here since last 5 years, so I have seen a drastic change, okay, and which is positive, I cannot say that you can change or, you know, make a very positive change within a day or within a year. It will take time, okay? When the youths are coming, they will come to learn new things. But in terms of ICT infrastructure, and when you are talking about AI, which is managing ICT infrastructure or powering that, all those aspects, definitely we need to reach there. It's still not, but yes, need to put a lot of efforts from the both this side, as a individual, as a corporate, as a government. Everyone plays very important role, and that contribution definitely will make us to reach there, to achieve that. So the question now, coming to specifically how you can definitely reach there, or how we can ensure that the base foundation can be more stronger, instead of talking about the icing on the cake, right? Education, that's the main thing, because I also comes from the that background, and representing the center of excellence. What is the need of that? To build the capacity. And now, and many of you, I'm sure, out of the audience, many of you have also participated, and you might be my students as well. But you will see the difference. These type of initiatives basically strengthen the roots, okay, and awareness, and knowledge. By that, you can definitely go a step ahead. Now, one by one, when you take steps, you will be preparing yourself to reach there. So needs definitely a lot of efforts. Education, okay, that is number one. Second is, when we talk about ICT infrastructure, government, as well as I always encourage public-private partnerships, which can bring in the ICT infrastructure more better. So the combination of this, because see, if any organization is putting up efforts for doing better ICT infrastructure, they also need experts like you, right? Those who are knowledgeable, those who can contribute. So ultimately, knowledge is the key, to reach there. But by the time when we grow, when we learn, we exchange our knowledge, we will definitely be there on it. All right. I hope that makes sense. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, no, just to also add on what Dr. Jane said, when it comes to education, I'm going to go in a bit more practical. Namibia's population, mostly it's the youth, right? And the youth, majority of them don't really even know what is AI, or just Pythons or algorithm or anything of that nature. But with this new technology, that this new digital transformation, you can actually get free education when it comes to that. One, we are more focused on social media such as Facebook and Instagram, and that's more social, right? But if you find yourself on LinkedIn, because it's a professional community, you get to have free courses on that. You get to see what type of programs are taking place in this world, what type of changes are being made. Because if you just have to register yourself today on LinkedIn, for instance, you'll be amazed how far behind you are with a lot of things that are happening. And this world is moving quite very fast in all areas. And this is the time that we live in a digital transformation. This is their time to boom. So if you really want to catch up when it comes to AI, spend more time on LinkedIn. There are free courses on AI, and they are very short courses and flexible. You're not committed to do them as in when you are registered with a university, whereby you have a timetable. You can literally, just take off three hours per weekend. That's all that you need, so that you can just get more exposed on which direction the world is heading to. Because I love the theme that the ICT Summit used, as in adapt or die, and it's true. As we have seen, when when technology keeps transforming. Back in the past, there were typewriters, right, before computers. After computers, and then it was laptops. After laptops, it was tabs. And the more it keeps going deeper, the more you get left behind. And that's why education is important as such. And that's the reason why we are having all these discussions. And this is very important for all of us to engage in times like this, because as Dr. Jane has mentioned, when you go and look for information, or when you go and gain more knowledge on how other countries are doing it, don't stay there, because you are not a nationality from there. Eventually, when you die, they send back your body where you are coming from, like where you were born. So it is very important that you come back home and then you share this skills and this knowledge. And yes, sometimes, yes, it's quite very difficult in an economy as Namibia, where we always, want to look at, oh, first let me get finances before I come up with a summit, or with giving out knowledge or skills. So it is quite very important to just share in any way that you can, either in a post or just talking to a friend, in order for you to be updated when it comes to AI. So I hope I did answer the gentleman's question that just worked out. Are there any other questions? Yes, please go ahead.
Can you hear me? Yeah. So I see education is a very key point, and awareness is also very important, especially for the everyday person. But I want to ask, the thing about artificial intelligence is it's like a deeply nuanced technology that's emerging. I mean, for people who are like more educated on it, or like deeply educated, it's been something around for decades, right? It's only now that it's starting to become more widespread for the everyday person. So I wanted to find out, could there be any like negative implications for someone who is not deeply of its applications, and what adverse effects it could have? Because I firmly believe that it's a wonderful technology. It's something that can really bring humanity forwards in terms of now how we can streamline and be more efficient with everything in many different type of industries. But I want to say that there is definitely something different about artificial intelligence when you compare something like a typewriter to laptops, or people who used to do calculations on paper to an actual calculator. So I wanted to find out, like, are people informed about the adverse effects, the negative implications that could come from being generally educated but not deeply educated about what it could do and what impact it could have? So,
let me answer that. All right, thank you for the question. You rightly mentioned about negative impacts. So I would like to highlight on that what exactly and what adversaries basically on that. See, AI is not a new thing. Why it is more popular these days? Because now we are making wonders using AI, right? AI was earlier also there, but in very limited edition, might people not aware. But these days, as the youth coming, new talents are coming, they are researching more, and they said, and they found that how this can be utilized for, let's say, making a robot, right? Or making some of the replacements of the human beings, okay? Like some of the restaurants you might see in Japan and China or in other countries where robots are serving in the restaurant. There is no human beings. So bit surprising, but if I specifically talk about negative aspects of it, if you don't have knowledge, like you mentioned, deeply knowledge and overview knowledge, right? On the top, AI is there. But if you don't have deep knowledge, you also need to understand what are the disadvantages and negative aspects. Number one, which I found is, like, if you are not aware specifically how AI works, how deeply, this things goes off, you must secure your data. That is number one. That's a very negative impact. If these days, like even I see kids, they download applications for gamings or for talking or something, There are so many AI-based apps, and AI basically listens you, okay? Means it collects data, because artificial intelligence is what? Basically, you are making the machine intelligent, and that intelligence is coming from your data itself, right? Based on those data, machine takes decisions, machine takes to understand or interpret. So the first thing is data. You should have a very clear understanding of how to secure your data, okay? That can be a negative also, because if you are providing everything, all your data, okay, hackers, attackers can utilize that data using again AI algorithm. Let me give you a very basic example. I hope you have seen on internet banking platforms or wherever we do login, have you seen the CAPTCHA? CAPTCHA is basically a image or a shattered numbers which you need to type it, then only it goes, because that's a test whether you are a robot or not. Okay, earlier it was not there, but due to this emerging technology that came into, and now two-way authentication, OTPs and all, then only you will be able to log in. Why it is required? Why it is testing whether you are robot or not? The negative impact. If you do not put any check on the whether it is the user is robot or not, what people do? People can write an algorithm, can write a code which can try all the possible combination of user ID and password to hit and crack that, okay, to manage to log in, and it will keep going on. No human being, it's a code which is trying. But to avoid those automated codes, they place CAPTCHA, so that robot cannot see or cannot solve the puzzle or so. And the second way of authentication is OTP, one-time password, so that it can verify whether you are the legit user or not. So just giving an example, okay, that is one thing, okay. Secondly, I would say in education aspect, people are using chat GPTs. That's a dangerous one, okay. So why I'm saying dangerous one? That making you lazy, right? You can utilize to be more informative. So you should have a clear understanding which is right, which is wrong. It's not like you got a kind of facility, so you are just utilizing. Are you getting? Okay. So in that case, we should understand, or we should use wisely. Okay. Because suppose tomorrow is your exam and today you are just typing, can you please give me the answer, this on the chat GPT, and definitely it will generate. That is also generated through data which is available on the internet. So it can generate, it can solve your problem, but do you really think that you can generate that data, or your mind can generate that data in the exam? No, that's the problem. So what I suggest is that could be a negative impact specifically, and there are many other factors where negative impacts can come, but we should use wisely artificial intelligence. We should understand, okay, because it might make you lazy, okay, it might makes you a kind of something which is you can do, but now you don't want to do because the machines are doing. Okay. Third point which I would like to mention, people have the fear, and I also mentioned in my last interview at ICT Summit with one of the prominent newspaper about whether AI can take your jobs or not. Okay, that could also be a negative impact. Okay, AI can definitely take your job, but I said it is not if you improve yourself. Okay, think the basic work. If you still stuck with that, if you don't want to improve yourself, you don't want to re-skill up, or you don't want to learn new things, and you are still doing, let's say, if I take an example of meeting administration, noting down the meeting minutes, AI can do for you. But if you are making your portfolio that no, I'm only in the field this where I can do meeting administration and all, I don't want to upgrade, definitely AI can replace you. So in my last interview, I said that AI cannot take your job only if you skill up, you learn new things, because we should not make in that way that AI drives us. We should drive AI back, right? Because it was designed by us, by human beings, okay? You have trained the models, you have given a lot of data. But ultimately, how can you overcome on the fear of jobs losing or all this? Because definitely AI can replace, but as I mentioned, skill up, okay? Learn more things, okay? Do smart work and do not depend on the, completely, means definitely you can take help, but do not completely depend on the technology or chat GPTs or whatever latest tools are coming, right? We should skill up, we should learn more, and we should think, like, as a technology person, I see chat GPT is just a 1% of AI. AI can do big wonders as well, okay? But still people think, oh, ChatGPT is everything, I can get everything. No. If you have been upgraded, if you have knowledge and you are continuously learning new skills, I'm sure you will also have that perception that, see, these tools are still basic. You can do wonders with that. But again, I would reiterate, let, AI should not drive us. We should drive AI, okay? There you can overcome the negative aspects and adversaries. I submit.
I'll say that you answered very, very well. So I think I also do believe that for the everyday person, that we should really learn how to use it, not just focusing on it can do this and that, but what can you do? What can you do to make it work better for you? So things like, for example, data protection and stuff like that. You mentioned about now that capture and the fact that automated systems are becoming increasingly good at what is known as like web scraping. Because I recently read this story about how in certain social media platforms and so forth, they are creating automated accounts, like AI accounts, whereby they simulate what a normal person would be posting. They have biographies, they have lives about themselves and stuff like that. And people don't understand that it's taking this information from everyday normal people who are not good at protecting their data, securing it against these type of threats. So it's very important that the everyday person knows, is more informed about how to protect their data. And also going forward in terms of the fears behind it, saying people saying that they are going to lose their jobs because of AI and so forth. It's not true unless you let it happen. Unless you are the person that thinks that it's better than you, it's going to be the one thing that performs better than you and so forth. It's dependent on you. It takes the data from you. So you should, like you said, upskill yourself, know how to use your skills in a way that AI can't do. Because when it comes to creative aspects, artificial intelligence performs quite poorly. If you've noticed things such as like, they're obviously getting better over time, better data sets, better like ways of efficiently transforming things into pictures and videos and stuff. But you can obviously see with the human eye that it falls short from what we can create by ourselves with actual videos that we take or actual drawings we make ourselves. So it's very important that we are informed about what we can do to use AI better and not just see the, let's see, the over glamorization of what it can do for us, but remain realistic but optimistic also. So that's what I wanted to say.
Well, thank you.
Quite very insightful from Dr. Jane and from our audience right there. So true. They always say the person that will replace is the person that knows how to use AI and not AI technically. So absolutely agree with that. So yes, we're just going to wrap up on this one. It was quite very intense and very insightful. I'm very much grateful. Now we're going to have the next theme of the panel that can just join us. Regarding on how can public and private sectors in Namibia collaborate to advance climate action and sustainability goals. Mr. Hubert, are you going to join us on this? Thank you very much, Dr. Jane. It was really nice having us.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
On the panel. Appreciate it. Okay, we're back again, being joined by Mr. Hubert himself. Please do introduce yourself to the panel. It's a shame the previous panel you didn't fully introduce yourselves. So sorry about that. So please go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Elizabeth. My name is Hubert Maton. I'm a master's in data science student at NAST, as well as a software engineer at Telecom Namibia. Yeah, that's my intro.
Welcome. I'm glad you're here today. Okay, so we're going to discuss on how can AI support the digital transformation of Namibia's public services to improve efficiency and accessibility while promoting sustainable development. So we're going to discuss more on the implementations of AI in public servants to enhance efficiency, reduce waste, and promote sustainable urban development. We're going to be looking more into smart traffic management, how City of Windhoek can play a role in that, public safety, healthcare services, reducing on waste, smart waste management, and waste sorting, resource recovery, promoting sustainable urban development in terms of energy management, urban planning, and environmental monitoring. So just going back to the main topic is on how AI can support the digital transformation of Namibia's public services to improve efficiency and accessibility while promoting sustainable development in terms of enhancing efficiency.
Okay, so when it comes to the public sector, AI can be used to improve many digital services and transformation initiatives. However, it comes to the basis of the infrastructure. How good is our infrastructure to manage these AI systems, these IoT systems, and efficiently improve these things in terms of sustainability? So there are many implementations where we can include AI into our systems. There are, for instance, predictive models that can essentially predict floods in certain areas. They use satellite imagery and say, okay, in this area there was more rainfall, so probably a flood would occur in the next 6 months or so. Now, that is just one example. But at the end of the day, the outcome is based on the input. They say garbage in, garbage out. So if we do not have a proper infrastructure that takes in the required data, then the output would not be to the best that it can be. So in that point, it's not AI that makes your IT infrastructure good. It's your IT infrastructure that serves as a better foundation for your AI to perform well. And when it comes to enhancing public sectors, we have many implementations where people have put facial recognition cameras at border posts to identify individuals coming in and out of the country. That could be used to protect the country, to see like, is this a criminal entering, or is this person smuggling drugs in, or So there are many implementations. It just depends on how good our infrastructure is. Do we have cameras at border posts? Do we have network connection to communicate to police and border security agents, and so on and so forth? So yeah.
No, that's a very good. It was quite very insightful indeed. So now, when you look at smart traffic management, like AI can optimize traffic flow by analyzing real-time data from traffic cameras that you have just mentioned and sensors. This reduces congestions, lowers travel times, and decrease fuel consumption. At what stage do you think are we at implementing this AI technologies?
Okay, when it comes to smart traffic management, there's a lot that goes into consideration. We need to know what is the AI looking at to decide whether the route you are taking is an efficient route, safe route, or, So we need to look at, is the AI taking data from a camera attached to your personal vehicle, identifying where you are and where you want to go? Or are we installing cameras at traffic lights, so it will just regulate traffic at a specific junction? Are we implementing cameras on posts, or are we collecting data via GPS? So we need to know what we want to do, and that would be the foundation of how we can implement it. As I can say, currently, even with the best roads in Africa, we fall short. You wouldn't be able to have a smart traffic management system when you are, say, traveling to Havana, because when you get there, it's gravel road, or when you go to a farm. So it's limited to the urban areas which are more developed. And there are certain instances where traffic lights are offline, then it's forced to be a four-way stop, and we have to rely on other drivers to behave, to be safe on the road. So it's possible to do it, but the infrastructure has to be there. And currently, I would say it's not there. We should look at improving the current infrastructure in the ICT sense, context of ICT, in order for AI to be able to adopt this, to improve this process.
Oh, well answered. Yes, indeed. Okay, that was quite very insightful again. So on public safety, so there's this AI-powered surveillance system that can enhance public safety by detecting unusual activities and alerting authorities in real time. This helps in quicker response to emergencies and crime prevention. But I've been wondering around this question, like, where does cybersecurity come in? Because these also have a lot of when you have to deal with surveillance systems, you do expect to have hackers and so forth. So how do we protect ourselves? Because as far as I'm concerned, we still do not have a Data Protection Act. We only rely on Article 13 of the Namibian Constitution in terms of protection of personal information and so forth. Now, when it comes to public safety-ness, how do we make sure that we actually do protect their information?
Well, we are lucky that our government is actually working on that the data protection policy. So it's in the pipeline. We should actually look at what are we looking for when it comes to surveillance systems. Hackers will always be there, and they will always try to infiltrate your system and try to get the data that they are not supposed to have. So it's essentially we should have proper data governance policies. How do we manage the data? Where do we collect data? Are we collecting the surveillance data on the streets, like in the public spaces? Or are we collecting data inside homes? Are we placing cameras that are accessible to the government from inside your house? Are they monitoring you through your laptop? So there are limitations. You can't monitor everything, and everybody can't be safe all the time. even though that's what we really want, there's always dark alleys and corners that you can't escape crime from. Having said that, a surveillance system that monitors your whereabouts and sees, okay, there are criminals in your area or crime has taken place now and alerts authorities, it's a very good system. I know of a guy that is currently working on a project. He's from, I can't now get the place, but he's from overseas. He's working in conjunction with an American company. They're actually building a system that can detect, that listens to 911 calls. So a 911 call will be made. A person will say, I've been robbed now in this area, in that AI will extract the words spoken and send alerts to people in that area to say, there's a fire in this area, or there was a car accident in this area. So these things are possible. However, the infrastructure needs to be there, and the policies need to be there to protect people, because you don't want all your data to be out in the world.
Wow, it takes us back to adapt or die. Definitely it does. It's quite fascinating that we're learning all this. For me, it's also very new in terms of what AI can do. AI can do so many magnificent stuff. So when it comes to the healthcare services, AI can streamline healthcare services by managing patient records, predicting disease outbreaks, and optimizing resources allocation in hospitals. So there was this time that I had a conversation regarding these healthcare services in terms of now, you can actually create your own AI in terms of booking patients, and then they just, put down their medical histories, as in, way back in the past, it was not the most safest way, but I could say it was a bit safe when you could just manually put down there, like, what's your medical history in terms of if you have asthma and so forth. But now there's a worry somewhere by at least manual, obviously if data is leaked, it's coming from that specific practice. But now, whereas you have to develop all this on these AI platforms, because you have to create all these algorithms and these codings that you have to just make it so much simpler, which is a very good thing, whereby you can just book, for example, if you're in the north, and then automatically it can confirm you as well online that you confirmed, or your space is now again available without somebody having to communicate with you. But how safe is that information in that regard?
So when it comes to communication, whether you're doing it to an AI or to a person, the things you say always go someplace. So it's always stored somewhere, whether it be in somebody's mind or in a database. Now, it depends on how much you trust this AI system. Where is the data being stored? If I now call my doctor or the AI and I tell him I am feeling sick and I want to come in on Friday, and the AI says, yes, you are booked in, that data of the words that I spoke is stored somewhere. It's in the database, and it's accessible to whoever manages the database. So at the end of the day, your data is going to someplace. It's visible to someone or something. And it's all up to you to determine, like, do you trust the AI enough to handle your medical records? How certain are you that the AI won't discriminate against you and share the data of your medical history to, say, another company you wish to work for, and they can see, no, you are not recommended for this job because you have A, B, C, D history in terms of medical situations. So the policies need to be there. We need to know, if I call this AI agent, where is my data being used outside of that specific space? How is it stored? Is it safe? Are there cybersecurity laws in place to make sure that my data isn't hacked by people who want to blackmail me, or, So it's about trust and about policies. Again, we come back to the infrastructure that is the foundation of a successful AI application. It's not to say it can replace the infrastructure and just make everything work as efficiently as possible and smooth. It's supposed to just add a layer of efficiency to an already efficient platform.
Quite very insightful. Thank you very much. We're about to wrap it up on this one. So reducing waste, smart waste management. AI can improve waste collection and recycling processes. Smart bins equipped with sensors can notify waste management services when they are full, optimizing collection routes and reducing fuel consumption. Now, on this point, I've attended 3 weeks ago the solid waste management workshop that was taking place recently in collaboration with the European Union. And there is a huge concern in Namibia because we are one of the cities in the world that was known as the cleanest city in Namibia, in the world actually, technically. But now we are no longer known as such. So with that said, I've given some key points on smart waste management and the importance of artificial intelligence in assisting with that. How can we collaborate with with the government in terms of assisting them with reducing all this recycling? Because there's a huge concern of, there's an increase of plastic wastage. For example, we're at 48% now, and city of Windhoek is pleading with the youth indeed, come up with incubations that, that could assist in this regards with collecting of this plastic waste, because it's also contributing to the climate change and to the climate and to the environment. It's harming it. So in that regard, how does this digital transformation assist in terms of reducing all this plastic waste? Yeah.
Okay, when it comes to waste management, there are a lot of solutions. There are like street sweepers. It's a machine that sweeps the streets and collects the debris and automatically sorts plastic from metals and from paper. So there are solutions that are already taking place across the world. However, I think it comes down to the individual. We should realize that throwing a bottle on the ground is not the right way to do a thing. So it comes down to your people. Like you can install 1,000 of those machines and they drive across the street and clean the streets. But if every time it comes by, another person throws a bottle on the ground, the system is basically flawed, and then more expenses will lead to maintaining and in getting more of those machines and technology and AIs. So it boils down, when it comes to personal responsibility as an individual, as a citizen of the country, we should take responsibility of our waste and make sure that we are making a conscious decision when we get rid of waste. When we throw it on the ground, we should know that that's a wrong action that you're taking. And an AI cannot come in and solve that problem for you. It's a thing that you need to solve in your own life.
Very well answered. Okay, so in other words, what you're saying is it comes to education, right, and awareness. But now we also targeting people that live in rural areas. Right now, as we have mentioned, they might not even have internet to join us virtually. So how are they able to know all this type of information that we're sharing right now, that it comes down to yourself? Because sometimes it's a mindset and about your surrounding, everybody else does it, so I don't see anything wrong with it, because growing up, that's what I used to see, and the circle keeps going on and on. So just to wrap it up, the solution that we can bring, I would suggest perhaps maybe we can have incubation centers close to those areas that are identified to be more littering, because we are trying to target Windhoek only for now. to make sure that it's the cleanest area. And yeah, like you have mentioned, really AI can't do much on that when it's a mental thing, and then just also bring more awareness and education to the community.
Yeah, no, if we look at the informal settlements here in Windhoek, we can see oftentimes there's a lot of littering happening there. And that is not because, that's not necessarily because these people just want to be, like they just want to litter or something. It comes down to the roads aren't in a state where a truck could come in and collect the trash. So at the end of the day, they pile up the trash and burn it when it reaches a certain height. So that is now influenced by the environment that they are in. So sometimes we should look into not also just blaming the individual, but also looking at how the environment influences that individual to take these actions.
100%. You look at the environment, how it influences the person, very accurate. Okay, we're about to wrap it up with this last one. Promoting on sustainable urban development. Now we're looking at energy management, right? Which AI can optimize energy usage in building by adjusting lighting, heating, and cooling system based on occupancy and weather conditions. This reduces energy consumptions and lowers carbon emissions. So you have mentioned something very interesting. You said, you know, sometimes they'll have all this littering and then they burn it, and then that also causes air pollution now again. So what would you suggest that when they gather all this littering, what are they supposed to do? Because these are the people also that don't pay, I assume, rates and taxes. So I assume that City of Windhoek obviously does not go and pick up their garbage or waste.
Yes, at the end of the day, my personal opinion is that the action that City of Windhoek might take to not go there because they're not paying rates and taxes, that is understandable, but the outcome of that decision is that pollution still takes place. So an increase of pollution happens over time. So the City of Windhoek should have a decision: is it worth it to ignore the rates and taxes and go improve the sanitation in that facility, and to later look at implementing a system that those individuals living in that area can contribute financially to sustain that service? Or is it better to just let them litter and continue on the way? So that is a decision that City of Windhoek has to make, and they have to make the decision based on obviously financial constraints and personal views and priorities. However, when it comes to giving them a solution to something like that, for instance, saying, don't burn it, do this, it's very difficult to say, because now we say, no, each person should just take the trash and go throw it at the city dump. Now there's now another problem of how do they get the trash from that point to a specific location? Is everybody carrying wheelbarrows to the place, or is there one guy loading it on his truck and driving there? And then on the way there, things fall off. And so there's a lot of issues in that area. And it's up for the government to look at it and say what would be the best solution to improve that situation in that area. That's my personal opinion.
Okay. Under correction, when it comes to digital transformation, is it also okay to say that, you know, since we have all these intelligent guys that are currently, like, you know, coming up with all these algorithms on how to build robots and robotics and so forth, is it okay to, or is it safe to say that they can also come up with initiatives, with projects that can collaborate with solid waste management by creating these robotics that probably works like at least over the weekend and just pick up this waste on behalf of the waste management? Is that doable? And also, if it's doable, how can we safeguard these robots that kids from the rural areas will not throw stones at it and, try to play with it and end up, demolishing it. Yeah, just around that whole scenario, I was just wondering, like, if you have any views on that.
Yes, so when it comes to individuals coming up with these projects and initiatives to fund such projects, we should not just say look at one person. We should look at people collaboration. People from different sectors should come in. People from legal and finance and IT, and everybody should collaborate and find out ways on how to improve these things. Because it's not just an IT guy that can do it. We also need people from that area that know how the area works to say, no, it won't work on the weekends, probably on a Tuesday or something like that. They would know better about that. So it's a group effort. It's not a one-person job. And also, on top of that, it needs funding. So it's one thing that we should look at is not everything is free. Things come for free to a certain extent where you get sponsors and so on and so forth. However, there will still be the issue of finances. Is it better to build a robot to clean the streets, or would it be cheaper for the city of Windhoek just to sacrifice the rates and taxes and that expense to go clean that area? So there's the pros and cons of deciding what you want to do. Are you going to invest in building the robot, or just sacrifice the income and go clean up the place with on your own expense? For instance.
Yeah, no, you definitely have a very good, valid point, because it takes us back again to education. It's educating people out there again, over and over again, on the importance of not littering. Yeah. So I'll give it down to the audience because we had such an amazing talk so far. Are there any questions? Okay. See one hand over there. Yes, it's coming your way. Please just introduce yourself, your name, and then you can post your question.
All right. I also have a comment before that. That's with regard to waste. There is a okay, my name is Lydia Shikongo, sorry. Yes, there is an initiative called Katutura Buyback Center. And then it says, let's recycle together. This is an initiative under the Solid Waste Management Unit. So basically what you do, B1, just behind there, you take your waste such as paper, plastic, and then they weigh it, and then they can sort of like pay you for it. So that's one of the initiatives that the Solid Waste Management Division came up with. So it involves the community to sort of be responsible for your own waste, because by that you are getting something by taking the waste there. And I think now with them doing that, they recycle the waste and then reuse it however they do. Okay, my question is with regard to data protection in terms of attendance registers as well. Hey, like we came to an event and we just filled in the attendance register. So what disclaimer is there to say that they will not use our data or sell it? I think we filled in our cell phone numbers as well. So with the AI tool, sometimes it writes there that, or even with online initiative, they will write that your data will only be used for A, B, and C. But now with the physical one, where we just fill in our attendance register, it did not make provision for that. And then sometimes you also just see the attendance register lying there. I'm not saying now with this case, but I'm saying with other function, the attendance register might be there. So in terms of procedures and stuff like that.
Thank you very much. It was quite very insightful, and that was quite an interesting question as well. I'm sure we've got plus 100 participants that are actually attending virtually, and they use that Google form that you have mentioned. But before I get into that, yes, I would like to comment on the plastic. You said what is it called? The one that's behind B1?
It's called Katutura Buyback Center.
Okay.
And then I think their theme is let's recycle together.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. No. What I wanted to find out is, so when you take the plastics, like you get a coupon, like, or do you get like monetary funds?
Monetary funds. So they wait,
Uh-huh.
and then say for instance, they have different prices. Hey, if you are bringing boxes,
Uh-huh.
the $1 per what. If you are bringing plastics, if you are bringing cans, it's actually a flyer that I got 2 days ago. So that's why I know about it.
Okay, so they get to actually motivate the community, in other words, in order to bring more waste, and then you get a token for it in return.
Yes.
Like a token of appreciation.
Yes.
Which is a very good initiative. So we can also look at ways like that, in that direction. Now coming to data protection, before I give it over to my brother here. So the safetiness, yes, it's quite a very big concern when you have to like fill in your details like on a digital platform, because you're worried where is this information being stored and so forth. So as we have mentioned, education is quite very important, because Mr. Huber just mentioned that the information that you fill in, right, it goes straight to the party that's managing it, right? So in this term, in this terminology, if we have to be practical, it will be the Women-Led AI Sustainability Youth Summit Committee that will be having this, or will be authorized to have this data that we're collecting from the audience, such as your email, your age, your cell phone number. Now, the reason why we have opted for cell phone numbers is because after the summit, there will be a group that will be created in order to give more awareness on sustainability and climate change, and as well on digital transformation. So those people will be very lucky, because they will be receiving as well like challenges after the summit in terms of, just on basics of switching off lights, give maybe like different responsibilities in your household, whereby you have maybe a 5-year-old that is responsible for making sure there's no water waste or just water running when you're washing the dishes. Maybe a 7-year-old that will always make sure that by the time when it's 7 o'clock, that's the only time you switch on the lights. Or when everybody goes to sleep, please make sure all the windows are closed, or and stuff like that. Or you get to carry the waste, and every morning it's your responsibility at least to collect all these bottles, like you have mentioned, take it to the token. So all these challenges are still to come forward, and that's the reason why that information was being required. But what I also love, the fact that you've asked, where does your protection come in? Because there was no confidentiality clause in that as well, which is a very good question, because now we can also like improve in that area, whereby we can awaken people that when you are giving off your information on social platforms, be it a summit, a trusted summit, or just any other event, make sure that you do get at least a what do you call it? I don't know if it's a disclaimer or a confidentiality clause in it somewhere, stating that your information should be at least as well protected in a certain way. Should you find your information somewhere else that is a bit linked to the party that you have trusted, then obviously there are legal implications to follow with that. So in that regard, yes, I'll also give over to our expert to explain on how more we can as well like protect our data and information in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, so when it comes to data protection, I feel like we often miss the target. For instance, we are concerned with an attendance register or a form that we fill in when we are trying to register for a conference or an event or something like that. However, we are so free to create accounts on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, which are known companies for selling our data. And you gave them permission by ignoring terms and conditions and clicking accept. Now, it comes into what data do you prioritize? You prioritize your cell phone number, you prioritize certain information about yourself. But when it comes to social media, you post pictures and you like photos and you go into people's accounts. That data shows who you are, who's your circle, who do you communicate to, where do you live. All of these things matter when it comes to big businesses making recommendations such as adverts for products that you might not want to buy, but since you saw it, you'll buy it. And you can say it's a good implementation of your data or a bad one, depending on how you look at it. But when we look at these platforms, these social media like WhatsApp, and these things are known for not being really, they have data protection acts, but they can do with the data what they want. We should really understand that aspect of things rather than trying to look at the flaws of events like this, which are trying to empower people and trying to connect. So, for instance, the cell phone number data could probably be used to make a WhatsApp group where we can communicate about future events or something like that. That is, whether you like it or not, it's a implementation of your data, as well as the age group. It can say what is the average or the age group that attended this thing the most. What is the interest? And those insights could be used to improve the future summits. It could be used to improve the next summit that is happening and improve their way of targeting, sourcing in funds, because they can use that data to show possible sponsors to say, like, no, this is the average people, the demographic we are targeting, and this is the attendance we got, and this is the physical versus online, and all of these insights can be gained from this information. Now, so it all boils down to what do you prioritize as an individual, where you want your data to be. Do you want your data to be not on a form? Then you can write anything you want there. You can write a fake name, fake number, and all of those things. You're not obligated to put in the right data, especially on social media platforms. People create fake accounts all the time. So it's more on how do you view your data. Do you think it's very valuable or not? And you can take the first step of securing your data by not giving it out. Thank you.
Oh, wow. That was quite very insightful as well. I just hope we're able to answer your concerns as well.
I think the last one was just in terms of data protection, in terms of attendance register. Like it gets filed, you get what I mean?
Yeah, just getting back to digital transformation, you know, like you have given such a good example as, you know, in the olden days, you'll have a manual where you, like a piece of paper, and you have to do it like manually, like put in your details and so forth. But the world that we're heading to, everything goes through Google Form. Like it's just much simpler, it's efficient, and it's faster. You know, like just to get everything at once instead of having to retype everything as well. Because at the end of the day, you still have to put that into a computer. And yes, like he mentioned, we don't know really who has the data. The person that did the coding still gets all our information, whether we like it or not. So at the end of the day, the digital transformation is a good thing, but yes, it also comes with its disadvantages. So yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions? And also on another note, since it's a digital transformation, right? When I was attending the World Bank, even participants, I remember the one of the youth that won the pitch deck. They were not there physically; they had to attend virtually. So we are trying to promote more on cost effective, you know, because of money is just not scarcity. Like it's not just unavailable in Africa; it's everywhere else. So when you host summits, sometimes you want to save on, for example, printing even of just banners, paper. Paper is an issue to climate change. That's the reason we are using, what do you call this? Yeah, that's why we are using a projector as well at the same time. So we are trying to give out so much information in terms of, reducing on things that we think it was very important, such as even when you get a tag with a plastic on it and your name, you don't need that because that's harming the environment as well. So with the new technology that's coming, we need to educate ourselves more via LinkedIn. I'll keep on emphasizing on LinkedIn because that's a beautiful platform. It's for free. The only thing that will cost you is you having to buy data or having to pay a service provider to use Wi-Fi or internet. So at the same time, it will really help you on how to protect yourself on just not giving any type of information when it's required on a Google form or on a platform that you have actually that self-conscious and say, do I really need to fill this form? Is it important, attending this or going through this application, not knowing where my information is going? How do I benefit at the end of the day? These are the questions we need to start asking ourselves as well. Because that's a new era we are looking at. Yeah. Even when I attended the ICT summit, right? Normally you'll get a manual paper for a meal. But now because for the delegates or for the dignitaries and the panelists, they gave us QR codes to scan. That's the technology we're heading to, and there are people that could understand on how to use these devices in order to get this QR to say, okay, fine, this was just once scan so you can go in, so that you also avoid a duplication of a friend that's working inside as a waitress to re-give it to another friend again. So there's a lot of things that are happening, and they're happening real quick. So it's a matter of understanding really, do I have to give my information? Is it worth giving it? Because at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, everything will be digital. It will be used on a digital platform. So yeah, are there any other questions? Okay, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I have a question on data security now. Data security is usually positioned as a sensitive or negative topic, but I want to know, since they say now data is the future, I want to know if there's a way that we can leverage it in a good way. My brother over here was talking about how AI or how people are using AI to make fake accounts that look real, by using AI to take data from other people and apply it now. So is there a way we can use AI or leverage AI in a leverage using data in a good light?
Thank you for the question. I would say that anything in this world has potential. Now, the potential for good is equivalent to the potential for bad. You can use data to implement good solutions, like, for instance, improving summits and conferences by getting a better understanding of what happened now and improve it in the future. You can use data to do anything, really. Now, and you can use data as well to do bad things. People use other people's banking details to steal money from them, for instance. Now, you can argue that if something is used to do bad things, why do we keep on using it? For instance, a knife can be used to butter bread, but also to injure someone. So it's all in the usage of the individual. When you are the person that is the gatekeeper of your data, and you know who you are, you know your data, you know what your ID number is, your date of birth, your place of residence. So when you go sign up for an account, are you willing to let that information out? Because it will be used, regardless of if you want it to be used or not. That's what you sign when you say accept terms and conditions, because they outline it in those documents. You say we can use your data for whatever we want. and whatever implications there comes in, it's you can't go sue them for this. So at the end of the day, you need to realize, like, what do you think is the best way to use your data? What do you think is important to give out and what not? You can decide, I don't want to give my ATM PIN for the specific reason. Some people give it out freely to people they know. So it's all dependent on you. And when it comes to how can data be used for good, it can be used for good only if the policies around that data is centered towards good values and good missions and good visions, good aims. So if your aim for this data is to be used for something that has good values, the possibility of it being used for bad is very low. Thank you. I hope it answered your question.
No, that was very well articulated, I should say. Do you want me to add more?
No, I think you answered it very well. Thank you.
Okay, now that's good to hear. Before we go into a break, are there any more questions? Yes, please.
So I didn't introduce myself before, but my name is Sean, and yeah, I'm an intern at Telecom for software development. So regarding that, the topic of data being used for good, I think the thing is, like Mr. Muton said, like the thing is, data is captured, regardless of whether you think it's not or whatever it is. Anything on the internet that happens, you're signing up for an account, you're making a post, you're clicking on something, cookies, it's being captured. However, I think like we have to inform ourselves in companies or platforms that intentionally it's their business model to make use of our data and sell it to whoever we don't know about. Like, for example, I think people need to start asking themselves when they use platforms that don't charge you to use it. You know, when you sign up on WhatsApp, you've been using WhatsApp for how many years? I remember when I was a bit younger, they used to ask for donations and like one USD and so forth. But when it was purchased by Meta, it's a free thing. You know, people just use it. People make calls, they WhatsApp, they talk about end-to-end encryption, and your data won't be compromised by, let's say, people who are trying to attack it, like, you know, man-in-the-middle attacks. That's now a term for when they attack, like, during the transmission of data from start to end, like you messaging maybe your mother or whatever it is. However, the data that is collected by the company, that is something that you have no control over. But you have to look at platforms that don't make it that business model. Like, for example, there was this other, I forgot the name of this platform, but during the COVID times, I started using it because it's not part of their business model to sell data. So I think, yeah, data can be used for good and bad, but there are instances where you don't have a choice of how your data is going to be used. And the thing is, you don't have a choice because either you are not informed about it, or they do inform it, but it's in fine print. So it's also your responsibility to do your due diligence. You don't want your data to be used for bad, then make sure that you do your research in terms of how companies that you are using their services and so forth will use your data. Yeah, so that's basically what I wanted to say.
Quite very insightful. Thank you very, very much. I think you're supposed to sit here. No, thank you for that. It was, I'm sure the viewers as well that are attending virtually, and I'm sure there are a lot, they're finding this very much useful. I was just wondering, aren't there any questions on that platform? Are you able to determine? No. Okay. Shame. I'm sure probably they have a lot of questions, but yeah, hopefully we can attend to them after the summit. So we're going to go on a short break. If there isn't any more questions, so I'll just like to say thank you very much, Mr. Robert, for making the time to come through. Really appreciate it. And I also appreciate the audience for coming through as well. We'll be expecting as well, after an hour or so, we'll be expecting another panel to come as well. Yes, it's Dr. Paulus from from IUM as well, and many others that are still going to come to discuss a little bit more in depth on the other themes related to AI. I know it's a new topic, and yes, many don't really understand, but that's the reason why we are hosting this summit, in order to like broaden our knowledge. So it's a very good step that we have started, at least with the summit, because it's going to be an addition every single year, and more workshops are expected to be performed in different areas, just to make sure that everybody gets on board. At least 5 years from now, we all know how to play around with that AI, and we are able to use it to better our economy here in Namibia, and as well just to grow ourselves, because education is knowledge, you know, like Nelson Mandela have said, education is key, and you'll forever keep learning until you die. So thank you very much. For me, for now, it's bye. Come back at 2, if that's fine. Will that be okay? Okay, thank you.